And it came to pass in the 4th year of King Darius that the word of the Lord came unto Zechariah in the 4th day of the 9th month, even in Kislew, which was the name for the 9th month in the lunar calendar, which was adopted from Babylon as opposed to the solar calendar God gave to Moses in Exodus chapter 12. As we saw back in Zechariah chapter 4, Moses is most likely one of the two witnesses along with Elijah, and the time of their prophesying is given in solar time as opposed to lunar, meaning 75 days shortened from 1,260 days as opposed to the 42 months that have been shortened to 70 evenings or 2.5 months that begin when the king of Babylon of the end times appears in Jerusalem, meaning Satan when he appears as the Antichrist, when they had sent unto the house of God Sherezer and Regemelech and their men to pray before the Lord and to speak unto the priests which were in the house of the Lord of hosts and to the prophets, saying, Should I weep in the 5th month, separating myself as I have done these so many years, meaning the 70 years in captivity to Babylon that were a type of the 70 evenings, meaning the 2.5 months that begin at the woe of the 6th trumpet. Then came the word of the Lord of hosts unto me, saying, Speak unto all the people of the land and to the priests, saying, When ye fasted and mourned in the 5th and 7th month, even those 70 years, did ye at all fast unto me, even to me? The answer to that question is no, because these days appointed for fasting and weeping weren't appointed by God, and as we know from the book of Ezra, it was on the return from Babylon that the priesthood began to be infiltrated by the Kenites that returned from Babylon with Judah. This is why Christ brings up Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, in Matthew chapter 23 and verse 35, because the time of Zechariah was after the return from Babylon. So these annual fast days were not appointed by God, the fasting and mourning in the 5th month being instituted to commemorate the destruction of Jerusalem, as you can see pointed out in the companion Bible, when the temple was burned by the army of the king of Babylon of old, and the fast in the 7th month was to commemorate the murder of Gedaliah, another tradition of men. And when you did eat and when you did drink, did not ye eat for yourselves and drink for yourselves? Should ye not hear the words which the Lord hath cried by the former prophets, when Jerusalem was inhabited and in prosperity, and the cities thereof round about her, when men inhabited the south and the plain? And the word of the Lord came unto Zechariah, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, Execute true judgment, and show mercy and compassions every man to his brother, and oppress not the widow, nor the fatherless, the stranger, nor the poor, and let none of you imagine evil against his brother in your heart. But they refused to hearken, and pulled away the shoulder, and stopped their ears, that they should not hear. Yea, they made their hearts as an adamant stone, lest they should hear the law and the words which the Lord of hosts has sent in his spirit by the former prophets. Therefore came a great wrath from the Lord of hosts. Therefore it has come to pass that as he cried, and they would not hear, so they cried, and I would not hear, saith the Lord of hosts. But I scattered them with a whirlwind among all the nations whom they knew not. Thus the land was desolate after them, that no man passed through nor returned, for they laid the pleasant land desolate. In the future as since, those still part of Satan's family tree, when the 7th angel sounds, will be cast into the outer darkness as evil figs as opposed to good figs, meaning all who are part of God's family tree when the true Christ returns, including the armies which were in heaven, who are the rest of the 7,000 Zadok, and they'll all be gathered together to serve in the millennial priesthood, whereby whosoever will absorb the discipline Christ will teach through them during the 1,000 years can be counted among the great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, you can read of in Revelation chapter 7, who will come out of the great tribulation, which is the 1,000-year-long day of the Lord, having washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb, taking part in the second resurrection and going into the eternity, which is the third world age.